Hello YouTube, and welcome to the third video of my Miele Blizzard, which I've decided to immediately take apart. I'm not going to be registering the warranty with this because it's an ex-display and it was a damaged item. So I wanted to find out straight away how this machine works, how the filtration works. I'm just going to have to let the cat out now. Hold on. Go on, off you go. So, sorry about that, she always wants to get on the videos. Right, so what I decided to do was to bring it in the kitchen and strip it down straight away. So there's no strip down video as such, but I thought I would film the parts of the machine because this is put together in such a different way to the bagged versions. Now, this is basically the base of the machine. There we can see on the side the exhaust port. That is where the exhaust air blows out through that gap there. On the other side there is no exhaust port. In the bottom here we have our tube which comes in from the front. It runs through the bottom here and it has a little port on the top with two holes that go actually into the bag fill tube, or the part where the dirt comes in. There is another little hole here which leads through this little pipe and into effectively where the suction comes from the motor, because the machine actually has a monitoring system that monitors the back pressure from the motor, because apparently what it's supposed to do is if it detects that the filters are clogged, that it's supposed to shut the motor down to low speed and bring the red light on the comfort button. So that's what that's for effectively, and that is linked up to wherever the little thing is here. This is the cable rewind. Okay, so that's very similar to the Miele bagged cleaners. And this part here on the side, which looks like a little sensor with two little wires coming out, that little white circular thing with two little ports on the bottom, are what connects up to that there. And that part there, that big round thing, is actually a suction port to take off the suction from the inlet pipe to cool the cord reel down. So there's three little valves, take-off ports there on that go onto that there. So obviously it's monitoring all the airflow around the cleaner. So what I'm going to do, what else we've got? Oh yes, what else I wanted to show you was the exhaust filter on this machine. Right, so what we've got effectively here is the top panel. Okay, and it took me a little bit of playing around to find out how exactly I removed that. That's the stepper motor inside there, which operates the that's what operates the little cog inside, which operates the cleaning function for the filter. That turns that little cog, which flicks all the dirt from the filter, and it's a little tiny stepper motor that does that. There you can see the manufacturing date, that was the 26th of July 16, but this thing was actually put together in December 2016. So it's 11 months old before it was sold. That's probably why it was a clearance item, because obviously it's the older version. There we see on the top there, that's where the power button is, and that's where the cord rewind, and that's how you first start to take it apart, by removing those two switches, and there's two screws underneath. And then what you'd have to do is remove that panel from the side, with there's two clips on the side there and two on the other side, and that enable that panel to pull out of there. Okay, here's your motor. So this is a Miele Blizzard motor. The stock number on this is that, basically. So that's what your motor is from the Miele. That's made in Germany. Looks like a standard Miele motor. It's modular again, with a little clip in there to clip it up to the power. This is the exhaust filter, basically. What that is, that housing goes on top of the motor, and that housing is connected to the lifetime HEPA exhaust filter. There it is there, look, built into the side, and that is moulded in, so you can't remove that filter from that case. It literally is a lifetime filter. On the back of it you have like, there's the top of the motor mounts there, but on the top of this lifetime filter is like a foam a foam piece of sponge, okay? And there we can see the other side of the filter. So it's imperative with this machine, absolutely imperative, that unless you want to strip this machine down and have to purchase that part separately, because that's what you'd have to do if you needed to replace that filter. You'd have to replace that whole plastic housing, right? And that part there clips onto the side of the housing, which I'll show you in a minute. But the camera's on low, battery on low, I'm afraid, so it's going to have to be quick, this one. But basically, that filter, if you operate that machine without the pre-motor filter in, you are going to clog that filter up. And the only way of getting to that is to completely strip the machine down. And then you would have to replace that entire piece of plastic assembly. So it is vitally important that you do not forget to put in your filter. That is the filter that is here, basically, inside there. That is vitally important. And there's a bit more of the housing there from it. So just in the next few minutes or so, before the battery on the camera runs down, I'm going to just start to reassemble this, and let me just put that up a bit higher. And as we go along, it's not going to take me, shouldn't take me too long to reassemble it. So first of all, I'll need this part here, which is the main housing. So that goes in like so. I'll move this to one side. So it took me a little while, but not too long, to figure out how this completely came apart. So we'd lie that housing back in there, and it has one screw, which is this screw here, that goes in there. Right, like so. And then we can put our cable reel back in. But before we do, we need to just lie the motor back in its housing. That will go and sit in, just in here. Like so. I'm just checking the housing on the top of here, because that goes on like that. So obviously our motor needs to lie in there, like so, so that those fit on the top. That's it. The housing, it goes on the top of here, and then this part clips on like that. Okay, we'll just have that to one side for a second. So here's our motor, and now we're going to put our cord reel back in. So we're going to lie that back into the case, connect the motor back up, put the plug back into the motor from there. The cord reel then will go and sit back into the machine. Like so, and there we can see that that little sensor now has lined up with those holes in the bottom. And I've never seen that on any cleaner before, so that's rather unusual, that is. So there's the motor back in, it's connected up, the cord reel's connected, and I need to just connect this part here up as well. And that went in. How did it go back in? Oh yes, that's it. That fits in like so. The next part is we want the motor housing and the post motor filter, which is in here, and that fits over the top of the motor. Obviously, we have to get the top of the motor into these two rubber holes here for the rubber mounts, like so. Yeah, that's right. And then we can put our 2 white pieces of plastic on the top of there. And that's how they went in, and then there was a screw in each one of those. Just checking to see if the camera was still working. It could cut out at any time, so if it does, I only apologise, but I haven't had a chance to recharge the camera between doing the original 2 first videos. So that screw goes in there, and then there's one in here, one in there, one in the front. And these are obvious, these screws. You'll see these straight away if you do ever take one of these apart. That one goes in there. So obviously I'm doing this because I'm not going to be registering the warranty with this, as it was so cheap and I wanted it as a bit of an experimental cleaner to have a good look at. Because obviously once you dismantle it, you pretty much void your warranty. That one doesn't want to go in very well, that one doesn't. I wonder why that is. You always get one, don't you, that won't go in? Come on, don't be awkward. There must be a reason why that hasn't gone in. Yeah, it's not sealed, that one. I wonder why that's happened. Oh, I'll undo these again. I thought it had, to be honest. I thought that had sealed in properly. I haven't got it quite into the casing in the right place, so unfortunately I'm going to take all these out again to get it lined up. What a pig. That's all they need when the camera battery's running down, is one to be awkward. Come on, I need you to go in there. That's better. Gone in now. Make sure, are we still recording? Just about. One. Two. This one's right down here, so we've got to be having nimble fingers to get this one in. One here. And one here. Right, that's that. Now we want the case. So the case cover should fit on over here like this. No, yes, that's right. And like the Miele bagged cleaners, it snaps in around the edges. And then engages with the front and pushes closed. Very, very simply. Yes, that's it. Now we want the control board. And again, this has a little plug socket on, like so, which plugs in here. So we line that up. And press that in. And then we should have the rest of the screws, 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think I may have missed it. There's other 2 here as well. So there we go, that's where they all are. 1 in there, 1 in there, 1 in here, and then the other 2 are down here in the back, underneath where the tools are stored. So we can just do those up. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now we put the little trim back in the front of the handle, which I just popped out with a screwdriver. Okay, that's where all the little clips are that push the front out, the white bit. We'll put the cover back on, which is this part, and that clips in around the edge with 1, 2, 3, 4 clips. Wrong way. And you just need to get your screwdriver into the edge there, 1, 2, 3, 4 to lever that out, but very carefully, otherwise you damage the case. And then we need to put our switches back on. So we've got the on-off switch here, and the power switch here, comfort rewind on that side. So in the reverse direction of how I got them out, I think I took that out first. Again, we've got a little spring here. That's one. Two. So the way we got those out was literally by putting a small screwdriver down in that gap there and levering that out, much in the same way as we do with the Miele, with the S8 or the C3 Complete. And that effectively is reassembled again. So now we put the tools back in. It goes in that way. And then the crevice tool goes in there like that. I'll just get my filter. Okay, so the filter goes back in its housing here, clips round, and then the bag or the canister goes onto its housing, clips down like that. And that is effectively, we'll just give it a quick test, turn it on, and now we can just switch the handle on. And that's basically how quick it is to put a Miele back together again. And I've only just bought that today, literally only a few hours ago. So they're not difficult. You just have to sort of have a bit of a play around with a screwdriver and find out where the popping off points are. This, as I say, is going to become more than likely one of the daily drivers down here for the time being, because I do like this. I like it quite a lot. The fact that that little tiny bit of trim there is missing doesn't really make any difference to it. You can still stand it on its end, and emptying it, as I say, those two little pieces of sellotape will have to stay on there for now until I can sort out, maybe see another one that's going second hand which is knackered, that might have a good bin assembly, but essentially as a daily driver that's going to get used, this is okay. So there we go. In 20 minutes we've taken it from component parts to fully assembled again. So if you do that in the reverse procedure that I've put it back together, in other words, what you would do is, first of all, you would start with popping the buttons off. So your screwdriver underneath here, lift that up, lift that one up as well on the other side, pull the levers off. You get your little, it needs to be a very thin screwdriver, like a terminal driver, just into those gaps. One here, lift that up and pop it out. Two hidden screws underneath there. There's two screws underneath here where the tools go. So you take those out, and then basically you sort of you take out your little cover there, which enables you to get a screwdriver in there and lever out, or just unpop the white housing from the front, and then you lift that away and pull it up, and the entire of the white housing will come away. So, you know, it's pretty simple. But take my advice, do not ever operate this without that filter in, because if you do, it will just go straight through the motor and it will dirty that foam pad on the other side of the motor, and it will clog it all up. All that will happen then is it'll overheat every time you use it, and you'll have to basically strip it all down. That filter, I would imagine, is not easy to obtain. You'd have to ring Miele up and then they would charge you a fortune. They might well say that an engineer's got to come out and fit it because it requires it to be stripped down. So it's going to lead to all kinds of issues if you let that exhaust filter get clogged. So you need to be warned with that, because I can't understand why Miele didn't make that exhaust filter user changeable like they do on the cylinders. Sorry, on the bagged cleaners. The fact that this is a non-user replaceable one, I can replace it obviously because I can take these apart, but it's getting hold of new ones, and it comes with that complete plastic housing as well. So, well, you know, it's not advisable. So there you go. If you ever wondered what was inside the Miele Blizzard, that's what's inside it. So I'll see you on the next technical video. Bye for now.